Thank you for coming to this Project Mosaic lecture. My name is Kat Callow. I'm a trustee of Project Mosaic. For those of you coming for the first time to one of our events, Project Mosaic is a UK-based charity. It teaches young people to be more tolerant of those coming from a different background. We promote three things. We promote interfaith and intercultural tolerance. We promote multi-ethnic good citizenship. And we promote the respectful integration of immigrant communities within mainstream society. We also work to combat different types of prejudice, group hatred, and extremism. Project Mosaic was set up just over a year and a half ago in memory of my cousin Dave Fontana. Dave was one of the 343 firefighters that died on September 11, 2001 in New York while they were helping to rescue about 28,000 people from the World Trade Center. We're really delighted that you can be here this evening at one of our initiatives, which is the Project Mosaic Lecture Series. I'd like to mention very briefly one of our other initiatives, our Global Citizen Program, which sends speakers here in the UK that are coming from immigrant backgrounds, and I think that probably includes just about every one of us in this room, fortunately. We send speakers from immigrant backgrounds to talk with young people in schools and in youth clubs to give advice and inspiration about tolerance, about celebrating diversity, about overcoming difficulty, and also to give practical advice about simple things like how to find a job, how to build contacts and network. If you would like to get involved in any way in our Global Citizen Program, and I see a lot of good candidates out there, or if you would like more information about Project Mosaic in general, I hope that you will visit our website, which is at www.projectmosaic.net, or send an email to info@projectmosaic.net, or contact me, have a word with me or one of our advisors after we conclude this evening. On that subject, regarding our advisors, I would like to thank them. They help us enormously. I would like to thank two of our advisors who are here this evening at Project Mosaic. And if they could each stand when I introduce them, Dr. Surinder Hundal, please, and Hassan Serdud at the back with two very big, strong men. Thank you very much for all of your help. There is a quick housekeeping point. If everyone could take out his or her mobile phone and turn it off. Any mobile phone that rings during the proceedings, you get to donate £100 to Project Mosaic. So it's up to you. This session is being filmed, just to let you know that, and the film will be used for Project Mosaic's educational work. We're delighted to provide this event for free, but as you leave this evening, we will ask you if you can make a donation. Just as we said during the Obama campaign, every dollar, every pound, every penny helps, so no donation is too small, but we really appreciate if you can help us. And Maria and Waya will be standing at the door with donation boxes. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mona Eltahawy. Mona is an award-winning columnist, an international public speaker on Arab and Muslim issues. Mona is one of few journalists that writes regularly for Arab and Western news organizations. She's a columnist for Al Arab newspaper in Qatar, the Jerusalem Report in Israel, Politiken in Denmark, and Metro Canada. Her opinion pieces are published regularly in the Washington Post and the International Herald Tribune. She has appeared as a guest analyst in several media outlets. Mona spent years reporting from Egypt, Israel, Palestine, Libya, Syria, Saudi Arabia, and China. She was the first Egyptian journalist to work for a Western news agency in Israel. She gives frequent lectures across Europe, North America, and the Middle East. She's been awarded several prizes, the European Union's Summer Qasir Prize for Freedom of the Press, the Aliyev Sartawai Award for Middle Eastern Journalism by Search for Common Ground, and the Anvil of Freedom Award by the Estlow International Center for Journalism and New Media at the University of Denver. We are also grateful that Mona is an advisor to Project Mosaic. Mona was born in Port Said, Egypt, is now based in New York. She describes herself as a proud, liberal, Muslim Egyptian, feminist. I forgot the word feminist there. Mona will be talking on the subject of Islam and feminism. Before handing over to her, I would like to ask if I might set the tone by what we mean when we use the word feminism, or more specifically, feminist. From my own perspective as a British-American dual national, born in New York and having lived in the UK for nearly 2 decades, I've come across 2 quite different and distinct definitions of the word feminist. The first definition is a person, could be a woman, could be a man, that believes that men and women should enjoy equal rights and equal opportunities. The second definition of feminist that I've encountered is a woman that hates men and that thinks men are inferior to women. At Project Mosaic, we embrace the first definition, not the second. So gentlemen, you may rest assured we love you. Mona has kindly agreed following her talk, which will be for about 30 minutes, to take questions. So if you have a question or a comment or an observation, could you just hold that until the Q&A at the end? Would you please join me now in welcoming Mona Eltahawy. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have to take out a prop. Ah, it's on the table. Thanks. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Sorry. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'm really delighted to see such a good turnout, and especially quite equally spread out between men and women. So, and as Kat, I would like to reiterate Kat's point. I love men very much, and we don't hate you. And I'm a proud feminist, but I don't hate men. I want to thank Kat very much for inviting me to speak to you all and share my ideas with you, but just as importantly, for inviting me to be an advisor on the board of, or for Project Mosaic, because when she first wrote to me, we were introduced by a mutual friend and former colleague at Reuters news agency, where we both spent many years, Paul Edel. And when she wrote and told me the goals and the aspirations of Project Mosaic, I immediately wrote back and said, of course, I would love to help in any way I can. So I'm really glad that I'm able to come here and share these views with you, because as I hope you'll see from my talk, much of what I will be saying goes towards promoting the goals of Project Mosaic. So to start my talk, I want to show you the cover of the latest Newsweek magazine. Can everybody see this? I arrived at the hotel this afternoon from Oxford University, where I was speaking at something called the Skoll World Forum. It brings together social entrepreneurs from around the world, and I spoke this morning on a panel on social networking, so Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of that. And I spoke about how young women, especially in the Middle East, are using social networking to get their voice out. You know, it gives voice to the voiceless, it helps the most marginalized people. And, you know, I spoke, I hope, quite passionately, because I love what these young women are doing, about how active young women are in many parts of the Middle East and in many Muslim-majority countries in using all these new tools. And, you know, I think I got people worked up and they were saying, wow, I had no idea women are so active. And then I arrive and I see this awful cover. And this cover is illustrating what Newsweek says is women in leadership, the new revolutionaries, why the growing force in dissident movements from Iran to Afghanistan is female. So the story seems to be quite positive about how women in Iran, women in Afghanistan, women in Iraq are using the internet, are using new tools like Twitter and YouTube to get their voice out and to gain political power. And yet they felt compelled to illustrate it by this. Now, how many of you saw women on the streets of Tehran demonstrating last year who looked like this? No one. But this is how they sell the story. This is what makes Muslim women sexy. This is, you know, this image of a woman who needs to be rescued. Well, I hope my talk today shows you that I don't need to be rescued, and that the examples of stories that I'll share with you will show you that the story of Muslim women and women and Islam and feminism is much more complex than these beautifully lined eyes but, you know, hidden face.